There are people in life that unfortunately we can't get away from no matter what we do. For some folks, it's the really irritating coworker, the very pushy boss, maybe the mother or father of your kids. It might be the dreaded mother-in-law. Whoever it is, in this video, we will review the gray rock method, or the gray rock technique as it's sometimes called. This will help you gain some skills in order to deal with the people that you wish you just really didn't have to. This method is named after exactly what it's designed to do, to make you flat and dull and boring, emotionally void, like a gray, dull rock. And this is done because narcissists are always trying to get a rise out of you, a response, a reaction. They want to control the narrative, control your emotions, and be in charge. Behaving in a gray rock type fashion denies them all of that. Hopefully you can get them so bored of you, they'll move along altogether to another target. But in most cases, what you're doing is just kind of reteaching, so to speak, the narcissist that you're not fun to play with anymore, so it really is best if they just move along. So, what's the first rule of Fight Club? Well, you never talk about Fight Club. So, the first rule of gray rocking a narcissist: you never ever tell the narc what you're doing or why you're doing it, especially when it comes to the gray rock technique. Narcissists are already extremely aware of how you and other sources of supply behave. You've probably even seen this. Take a half an hour to respond to a text message when you normally write back instantly. The second you begin to act out of character, they notice. It's best not to clue them in. The narcissist might take this information and go, "Oh, I see what's happening here. Challenge accepted." And then they might possibly up the ante and their bad behavior, or they might actually try to love bomb you to see if they can get you to stop this behavior. So where we need to start with all of this is communication. In reality, you'd probably love it if you had to have zero communication with this person, but since we can't do that, what we need to do is limit the conversations. Think of all the ways we have to communicate: in person, snail mail, telephone, cell phone, video calling, texting, messaging, emails, social media. I mean, you want to literally talk overload. So we have to do our best to begin to take these away. Seeing this person is very difficult, so we have to try to avoid seeing them in person and eliminate every other possibility that we can. You can maybe see if someone is even willing to help you with pickups or drop-offs. Maybe your child is old enough to get out of the car and come into the house without you having to step outside to see the narcissist. But we have to do what we have to do. If you can, limit the person and try to get them down to brief texting and emailing. And there's a reason why I say texting and emailing over anything else. They're fairly instant ways of communication, and you don't have to hear them or see them when this is happening. Also, they can't see or hear you. A lot of a narcissist's bullshit tactics work way less when you can't see or hear them and they can't see or hear you. They won't see you if you're crying or upset, or if you're angry. They won't hear that tone in your voice. Texting and emailing is very emotionless, and that's what I explained we're going to try to do. That boring, flat, emotionless gray rock. Texting and emailing, very matter of fact, very to the point. You don't have to say much, and of course, no feelings or no emotions have to be conveyed. You'll need to let this person know that other ways of communication are no longer open to them and no longer working for you. You don't need to tell them why either, survivor. You don't owe them an explanation. You're grown. Limit the ways that you contact each other. You don't need 10 ways for this person to get a hold of you, whether it's a coworker, a boss, the parent of your child. Nothing. And once the different ways of communication are decreased and your boundaries are set, they need to be held. If you say, text me, don't call me, and they call, it's really important that you don't answer the phone. Keep in mind, survivor, we're kind of housebreaking the puppy. You're going to have to remind them over and over to go outside. So at your convenience, you send a text that once more says, "There's no reason for us to call. I will not be answering if you call." Along those lines, how you respond is also key. We're dwindling those forms of communication, and then we're dwindling how we're actually communicating, how we're responding. Regardless of when or how you're dealing with this person, even if it's face to face, talk as little as possible. Once more, you're trying to be boring, flat, uninteresting, hell, even unappealing. You're trying to make this person not offended by you, but bored of you. Answers like yes, no, cool, okay, nope, no thanks, and so on are where you want to live. That's your little zone there. Let's say you get a text from them and it has 17 words. Your new goal is to send 16 or less. Make it a game to actually talk less than they do, because here's the thing. The less you talk, the less they have to go on. They can't twist your words. They can't tell you what you said or what happened. They can't control that narrative because you're literally not giving them anything to work with. They have no material to use against you. If you'd like to talk with me one-on-one, I invite you to book a chat session with me. Gain skills, clarity, and insight about your situation from a fellow survivor. You can share your experience and vent in a safe, judgment-free space. Links and information to get started are down in the video description. Let's say you get a text that says, "So listen, I know I was late picking up," insert child's name here, "but you didn't really tell me that 6 o'clock was okay. I just had to guess, and since you clearly can't communicate, I didn't know what was happening, but I'll be dropping him off at 8 o'clock. Do you think maybe you could at least act like you care about your kid and respond so that maybe I know what's going on?" Ugh, that's so gross, right? And half of that isn't even true, and storytelling, and they're so dramatic. And so there's an example of something shitty that you might hear from them through text. So here's the perfect gray rock response. "Sounds good." That's it. That's all it needs to be. Or, "Yeah, cool. Thanks." And trust me, I know it's going to make them mad. They're going to have more to say. But here's the great part. When a person comes at you like that really shitty passive aggressive text and everything else, and it's really obvious they want to fight for the sake of fighting, they want to control, they want to win, they want to make you feel bad, you actually don't have to partake in that. You've answered their question. 8 o'clock is a good drop-off time. You've said, "Sounds good." Yep, okay. You've already given the answer. You can read the messages to make sure that there's not an emergency or something, like if it's a co-parent, but you've said yes or no or whatever you've needed to say to the question at hand. That's it. You're done. You're starving them of the reaction, the fight, the drama. So yeah, they're gonna throw a fit about it when you give those really boring answers. Who cares? It's hot air. They're angry. So we limit what we say, when we say it, where we say it. Making the narcissist think that they are boring can really mess with their ego. So if you do have to do those face-to-face encounters or interactions, look at the floor, suddenly find your shoes fascinating. Look at your phone. Candy Crush will always work. Be distracted with something. The narcissist learns that you have other things going on. You're thinking of other things, more important things. They also learn that what they're saying to you doesn't bother you. Now, quick caveat. I'm sure it does bother you. They're saying that you're a terrible employee, a bad parent, a bad person, again, whatever the case may be. It is hurtful. The whole idea here behind gray rock is you are not conveying that message to them. You're not showing them that you're hurt or that you're bothered. Have those emotions, validate those emotions privately, peacefully, either alone or journal or talk to a counselor or do something with those feelings that you're having with someone that you can trust in a safe, place, not in front of somebody who is craving your emotions like they're an actual addict. Limit how they're allowed to contact you. Limit contact altogether. You definitely can't go gray rock if you're still doing things like chatting with them on social media, trying to be friends with them, giving them money, or sleeping with them. If this is a coworker, for example, all you have to talk about is work. You're not obligated to make small talk. If this is a co-parent situation, all you have to talk about is your kid or kids, respectively. You're not obligated to make small talk. If it's someone at the gym or an in-law, you're not obligated to do anything. You don't have to play the games. Answer the questions or take the abuse. And I hear a lot that gray rock doesn't really work. So I want to touch on this briefly as well. Gray rock works best when it's done on a consistent basis. Like I said, once more about housebreaking that puppy. If you only do it 1 out of every 4 times, honestly, the puppy is just going to be confused. Okay, so sometimes it's okay when I do this, and other times it's really not okay when I do this, so I don't know what to do. And honestly, you will also confuse the narcissist. Boundaries need to be set as well as maintained every time you have an interaction. This is very hard to do. These people are frustrating and infuriating. Also, we're human. They live for this bullshit. They love the drama. We are craving tranquility. So there might be days where you give in because you're tired and you just don't give a shit anymore and you're worn out. That's what the narcissist is hoping for. Their whole goal is to wear you down, and some days they might win. This is not necessarily easy to do. However, this isn't something that should be done if no contact is an option. This is not what you choose to do because you don't want to go no contact. This is a tool that needs to be used to keep pushy, annoying, overbearing people, frankly, at bay. Not as a tool to hang on to something that you know you need to get rid of. If you can go no contact, it's your responsibility, frankly, to go no contact. If you have kids, a business, what have you, then and only then do you gray rock. This is also not something that should be done long term. This isn't, again, so that you can keep somebody around 4, 5, 6 days a week. This really needs to be done in those terrible situations. You're stuck working with this shitty coworker on a project. It's the holidays and you got to see the in-laws, or, you got to go to court and deal with this person about your kids, and it's It's every now and then. This is not how something should be done day in and day out. Also, this is not something that should be done at all if this person is particularly aggressive or violent, and if they have a history as such. This is not your move. Gray rocking irritates a narcissist because they're not getting their way. So don't give a person like that any more reason to, act even worse. I'll say it like that. If they can't keep their hands to themselves, then your safety is very important, and this is not recommended at all. So, do you have to gray rock a narcissist? Are you having to do this right now? Let me know down in the comments. Thanks so much for listening. Please subscribe for more videos. Have a great day, survivor, and take care of yourself.